I don't know if you know, normally, we're sitting here and we don't make the news, but this past week, Charles, I don't know if you know, but you've been in the news for some comments you made on our last show. Do you remember, dear, what you said?
I do remember what I said.
Okay, we'll roll tape.
If I see a black person walking around with Trump mugshot, I'm going to punch him in the face.
Charles.
I know, Gayle.
Charles.
Gayle.
You really can't say that because, A, you don't mean that.
Oh, I mean that sincerely.
But if you see somebody, a black person with a Donald Trump
I'm going to punch him right in the eye.
Punch him in the face.
Gayle, I promise you.
I would bail you out. I would bail you out.
You're not going to be my first call.
No, it's so funny because before I took this show, before we agreed, because Charles and I, we have to say this, neither one of us were looking for another job. And CNN called and they had this great idea, you and I together, which I thought was really fun. And people said, aren't you worried about things Charles would say? And I said to you, you're a grown-ass man. You say exactly what you think, and you take responsibility for everything you say.
Yes.
And so it's not like you just willy-nilly say stuff for clickbait, right?
I always know the response, and I always know how much gasoline I'm putting on the fire.
Okay.
Of course.
So in that vein, that clip that you all just saw has been seen millions of times, and there have been quite a few articles written about it, and that's before we even get to the social media comments, which look a lot like this gentleman. He's very large. He's wearing a mugshot, of the T-shirt, or photoshops of large men wearing the T-shirt that say, "I hear Charles Barkley's looking for me." They all think that you are ready to run around punching people who vote for Donald Trump. Now, I know when you say that, that was just you making a point. That's not something you would literally do, going around attacking people, right?
Well, let me say, is this my camera right there? I want to make sure people can hear me.
Yeah.
Number one, obviously, I'm not going to go around punching random strangers in the face, first and foremost. Secondly, people can vote for who they want to.
Yes.
People can vote for who they want to. The point I was trying to make.
There you go.
No, the point I was making. I wasn't trying to make it.
Okay.
When Donald Trump compares his plight with that of the black person,
yes,
that is what I had a problem with. Mm-hmm. Now, I do want to say this. I want to make it perfectly clear. If you're a black person and you're wearing a Donald Trump mugshot, you are a freaking idiot. And I'm only saying freaking idiot because they won't let me say what I really want to say. But you can figure it out. It starts with an F. Mm-hmm. But you are. Listen, people can vote for who they want to.
Yes.
But for him to compare his plight with that other African, I don't even like that term, the black people in America, is asinine and stupid. Mm-hmm. And like I said, you guys can put on those too small T-shirts like y'all got them on. Get a big size if you're going to wear it. Don't put on a medium and act like you got muscles. But that is so, that bothered me.
That irritates.
It bothered me because for him to compare a white billionaire who is in trouble because of stuff he did.
Yes.
Not because of stuff, like black people get in trouble stuff that happened
that they did not
deserve to do.
Yes.
But for him to compare that to black people's plight, that's just stupid on their part. I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all got Nielsen boxes if y'all gonna wear those tight T-shirts around the house and somebody take pictures. But I do. I'll stick by what I said. If you're wearing a Trump mugshot around, you are a freaking idiot. Mm-hmm.
But you aren't going to go just randomly attack people on the street. That's the only point I want to make.
Unless they had the Trump sneakers on, too. Unless they had the Trump sneakers on, too. Now, if you got the mugshot, if you got the mugshot and the Trump sneakers on, you uncross over a line that you cannot get back.
Well, they're $3.99. Some people say that's a good deal. But I was trying to help you. I said, you don't really mean that. And
I'm not going to go around. I'm trying to make the point, though. I'm not going to go around punching people.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Violence is never the answer.
Exactly.
But my message is very clear. If you think Donald Trump is under the same umbrella as black people, you're just stupid.
One quick question. Ted Cruz. When I say the word Ted Cruz, what's the first thing that comes into your head? Mine is Senator Cupid Stunt. Ted Cruz could be a thing of the past because Colin Allred in Texas is hot on his heels. He's won the Democratic nomination to be their candidate that will take on Ted Cruz. Thoughts if Ted Cruz goes? Will you miss him? Well, it's a no for me.
We've had challenges before, and we'll have them again. But the fundamental reason that democracy works is that the people elect leaders to represent them and their interests, and to try to fix things for them, not to look out for themselves. We've had enough of that with Ted Cruz. It's time to go in a different direction. Our public servants should serve us, the public, not themselves or special interests. And there are public servants, and there's Ted Cruz. We all know who Ted is. When I was in the NFL, we had a term for guys like him. We called them me guys. They were always looking out for themselves. You know, in football, you got to work together. You got to find a way, even if you disagree or come from different backgrounds, to get things done. And when you have me guys on your team, it brings everybody down. There's too many me guys in D.C., but none as big as Ted Cruz. But in our democracy, we has always been more powerful than me. We, the people, we hold these truths to be self-evident. We shall overcome. Yes, we can. And we don't have to be embarrassed by our senator. We can get a new one. And that's what this is all about. We know that we can win with a campaign that draws on our history as Texans and charts a new and better path forward. We're going to work together to build a movement of Democrats and independents and Republicans that will defend our freedoms, fight for our democracy, make sure we have an economy that works for everyone, that secures our border consistent with our values, and we're going to make Roe v. Wade the law of the land again when I'm in the United States Senate. So that folks like Ted Cruz can't force Texas women to flee their own state to get the health care that they need. It's unacceptable. It's outrageous. Allie and I have been blessed with 2 baby boys here in Dallas in the last 5 years. I was at every ultrasound appointment, every genetic test. Those rooms are too small to have Ted Cruz in there when you're trying to make those decisions. It's funny, and it's not, because 26,000 Texas women have given birth to their rapist child since this law passed. We have counties saying you can't drive through the county if you're going to use the roads to access an abortion. How are they going to enforce that? You're going to start pulling women over and ask them, what's the nature of your travel, ma'am? Can I inquire as to your condition? Does that sound like freedom to anybody? I know it doesn't to me. Like I said, I'm about as Texas as you get. And there's one thing I know about us as Texans. It's that we believe in freedom. And that's what this election is going to be all about. Restoring our freedoms. This is my chance to say thank you to an entire community that helped raise me. Thank you. That's all. Because, you know, when you're raised by a single mom who's a public school teacher, and we don't pay our teachers enough, and she had to work, you know, sometimes 2 jobs to make ends meet, you rely on your community. You rely on your teachers and your coaches. For me, on my local YMCA, where I went so much, they started letting me come for free. People went above and beyond to give me a chance. And I don't forget that. It was because of them that I could chase my version of the American dream. It was because of them I got a chance to get a scholarship to play football at Baylor University, to go to the NFL, to become a civil rights lawyer, to serve in the Obama administration, to serve y'all in Congress, and now to serve you, hopefully, in the United States Senate with God's grace. We've gotten a lot done together. I'm proud of being the most bipartisan member of the Texas delegation, not because bipartisanship in and of itself is the goal, but because getting things done is the goal. Because when you're raised by a single mom, you don't have time for theoretical ideas. We got to help folks. I think about the mom who's sitting there working 2 jobs like my mom was, and I know she's probably hoping her elected official is working as hard as she is. They're not just playing games. Then when you see there's a crisis at the border and there's a bill to try and solve it, that you don't take it down because you want to have the problem to run on in November. That's not who we are as Texans. But it's too much of what we have had in D.C. Ted Cruz has had 12 years of pitting us against each other. It's time to have a senator who brings us back together.
Big Bird, as you can see, we've been joined by Senator Cupid Stunt. Can you just show us how you can be the adult after the silly tweet they sent you?
You can send somebody a virtual hug. How about that?
Big Bird, as always, Senator Cupid Stunt doesn't seem to take anything anyone says, which is wise, seriously. Changing subject again, let's conclude. We have some video of Senator Cupid Stunt trying to dance. Big Bird, you like to dance, yes?
Tony, you have to get up and move. Yeah, so Abby and I, we have virtual dance parties together, and we have a lot of fun. We just kind of move and shake.